Welcome to Living with the Landspeeder, where we transform Disney parks into Star Wars one attraction at a time. My name's Ryan. I'm joined by my good pal, Catron,
Heyo.
and my other good pal, Derek. And
I'm a good pal today.
You are a good pal today. Because
last week I was just a pal.
Yeah, because let me tell you, I'm living my Star Wars dreams. Tonight, I'm talking to one of, if not my favorite, Star Wars all-around guy. Tomorrow, I get to see Return of the Jedi with my son in the theaters, which is amazing. His first Star Wars movie in the theaters. And then next week, I board the Galactic Star Cruiser for May the 4th. What is life?
Wow.
I feel so blessed. I know. It's like a dream, and I'm just waiting to wake up from it. But tonight, we have the wonderful James Arnold Taylor on with us tonight. How are you doing?
Well, hello there, I should say. I should start with. No, I'm great. What an amazing and fun ride that we're about to take here. Oh, look at that. I am so excited by this. And when Derek told me this whole the concept, I'm just thrilled. So yeah, lay it on me, man. I can't wait. Now I will say this. If you're going to Disney World or Disneyland, either one, and you go on Rise of the Resistance, Lieutenant Beck, who takes you on your journey, that's me as well. So there you go. I have a bad feeling about this.
That's so amazing.
I will be on there, and when he starts talking, I'll probably be screaming, "I know him! I know him!"
My daughter does that too, so it's okay.
Well, before we get started, for those that don't know, which I don't know why you wouldn't know, but James is the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Plo Koon, 1,000 other Star Wars characters, and other characters from all over the entertainment world.
Yeah. Well, gosh, you're good for my ego.
Hey, and I'm using an SE microphone. You've even done stuff for them too.
Me too. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, look at us.
SE.
Oh,
that's not paid for. SE didn't pay for that. They could.
No.
I'm going to call Tony. Tony?
Yes, Tony,
send
come
this
on.
to you, buddy. Yeah.
You also have one of my favorite. I'm just going to pump you up tonight. One of my favorite one-man shows. Talking to myself. I've seen it. I saw it live.
You did?
Yes.
Oh.
I used to go to Star Wars weekends all the time when I lived in Florida.
Oh man.
That's where you don't remember me, but I remember meeting you there. I still have your picture. I'm like a little girl.
Oh my goodness.
I still have
awesome, man.
your autograph picture back there.
Ryan, go take a cold shower.
I'd have to see it. I bet if I saw it, I would remember it. People show me pictures all the time, and I'll go, I remember that day. I remember when we did it. Ashley Eckstein, the voice of Ahsoka Tano, is just one of the greatest people on the planet. And her and I had such a wonderful time hosting that event every year. And it was just a blast. And now we're going around with Anakin, the chosen one, and doing Comic-Cons this year. We're doing 20 different Comic-Cons in celebration of 15 years of Clone Wars. Can you believe it's been 15 years? Which it's actually been 17 years because George Lucas had enough money to make the show while it wasn't out yet, so we were making it for 2 years before it actually came out. So pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I remember it well. I've watched it all back with my son, and he loved it. And I told him tonight, I was like, tonight I'm talking with Obi-Wan. He's like, what? And I'm like, I'm talking with Obi-Wan tonight, and he got really excited.
What's his name?
His name is Grant.
Grant, the force is strong with you, my friend. Remember it. Don't go to the dark side. No matter how good they say their cookies are, they lie.
Come on. Now, I always love telling the story of the first time that I met James in person, and he had just moved to Nashville, and his studio wasn't ready yet. And I was like, hey, come check out my studio in case you need something. Yeah. And I said, be warned, when you walk in, it's all Star Wars themed. I swear I'm not going to try to wear your skin as a mask or something. But I said, to be fair, for me, it's all dark side. I said, I'm not with that light side thing.
You were honest, which I appreciate for someone on the dark side, but I'm still trying. Just like Anakin.
We try to balance it out around here.
Yeah.
So
let's see. Oh, so anyways, I know that everybody asks you about Obi-Wan and Star Wars and everything. And I could really talk to you about that all night long, but we're short on time tonight. But I really wanted to talk about Hidden Blessings, a movie that
God bless you.
have have written and star in,
I
and
wrote it and produced it and edited it and helped shoot it with my producing partner Matthew Buds, and it was literally 2 guys, 3 cameras and a lighting kit,
Oh,
and some
wow.
microphones, and that's how we made this. But I wrote the movie 5 years ago, and I intended it to be for my friend Tom Wilson, who many people would know from Back to the Future fame and such. He was
Yeah.
Biff and all, but also an amazingly talented actor. Also worked in the world of Star Wars, and for him and my friend Catherine Tabor, who played Padme Amidala, obviously in the Clone Wars. And then when I moved to Nashville, I was like, I really want to just shoot this thing on my own. And Tom had booked a TV series and wasn't able to do it. And he's like, you should play the character. I'm like, I don't know. So I rewrote it for myself and had to make some changes and stuff. And so, but we made it, and it's really just been a blast because it's shot as a documentary. We never leave that world. We don't break that fourth wall. And so I'm hoping a lot of people will watch it and kind of go, is this real? Did this really happen? And it's the story of about a reclusive painter and this girl who has a painting of his, and she wants to know if it's really hers, if he really painted it rather, and if he perhaps is her father. And because there's a whole story there that she never knew her father and stuff. And so we're getting great feedback from it. We're hoping to do a screening. Actually, we're hoping to do a screening out here in Nashville soon. So
Oh, cool.
we'll
I
have to
will
get
be
y'all
there.
invites. Yes, wherever y'all are. But and it is just been an adventure. We have music from Jars of Clay in there, and I've been thrilled to meet Dan Hazeltine, who's the lead singer of Jars, and thankfully he and his son are Star Wars fans, and so that was nice. But we got to talking, and so hopefully we'll get the music in there as well and get the rights to that. That's really what we're waiting for, is just to acquire the rights to all the songs that we have in it, and then hopefully get it out somewhere. I'd love for it to be in theaters because I feel like it's one of those movies that might actually be fun to see in a theater. But hopefully it'll be on a streaming service at some point soon as well. So it's called Hidden Blessings. You can see the trailer on my YouTube channel, and it was written and put together. I mean, I edited every moment of that movie. I mixed all the sound in it, and recorded all of the sound in it too. So yeah.
Well, and that brings up a thing, we already kind of geeked out before we hit record about your gear, and we just talked about the microphones, and I know everybody's here for Star Wars, but this is very self-serving because I know that you're an audio guy.
We talk, Derek and I talk audio all the time.
And so
calls or in person.
Yeah. So if you're doing your video too, what are you using for your video editing?
So I edit in Premiere Pro, and we shot in 4K, and we used a bunch of Canon 90Ds that we shot on. We had 3 of them. And so that was nice for that. And the beauty of shooting a movie on the cheap, because we did it completely out of pocket. I did the whole thing just out of, funds that I had. And the beauty of shooting as a documentary is it can look like a documentary. So you can see a boom mic come in. You can have cameras in the shots. You can, the person can be mic'd up, and because you're just staying within that world, and it's almost like found footage. And so but the other thing it does is it makes it incredibly hard editing, because you have to create a whole backstory. So there is backstory photos of Gregory when he was younger, or his kids when he was younger, or his wife, and all of these things. And you have to take all this. So my wife has been very kind. She plays the deceased wife in this movie. But and there's a whole story to that, the mystery of that and all of that too. But so she's been a good sport. We used our old wedding photos and things, so it was kind of fun. Awesome. But it's been an adventure and really fun to shoot and put together. And my buddy Matthew Buds, who has moved out here as well and is a filmmaker and retired law enforcement, has a wonderful story himself. And he and I have been writing movies together over the last 2 years now, and just hoping to get more of them. We have another one called The Comic Shop that we just had a great meeting on today that we're hoping to do. And I've only mentioned this once so far, but what I'm hoping with The Comic Shop, I had put out a trailer for it before, and it was going to be about this guy Bud and his comic store. I've made some changes to it. I rewrote it so it will star Ashley Eckstein.
Oh, cool.
And it will also star Matt Lanter and myself, if I'm lucky enough to be able to afford them, and D. Bradley Baker. And so my hope is to get all of the Clone Wars actors in this film and make it a Clone Wars reunion film. That's my hope. And so if I can get the funds to put it together and pay all of them, I think I've got a pretty fun script. It's basically Cheers in a comic book shop. And it revolves around this reclusive voice actor. I always do a reclusive character that I play. I don't know why. And this voice actor that nobody's ever seen, but they love all of his stuff. And so they try to get him to come to their comic shop, and hilarity ensues, hopefully.
Very cool.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah,
So that's the
great.
second one. But Hidden Blessings is coming soon, and so I hope people would want to see that too. So thank you for mentioning that.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
welcome.
And whatever we can do to help push it as well. We're that's what we're here
Sure,
for.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think what we're here for now is to
Yes.
find out. We let you choose the ride.
Yeah.
So, and it was funny because we were all on a video. We were doing another episode, and I'm texting you, and
Yeah.
you had picked the ride while we're on the episode. And I'm like looking at the guys, and I'm like, they're like, "What's our next ride going to be on the show?" And they're like, "Oh, I guess we'll have to wait and see." And I'm like, "I know what it's going to be."
Well,
so what ride did you choose?
Well, I chose because it's Disney World, right? I mean, like if it was Disneyland, I would choose Mr. Toad because that's just one of my favorite rides. But Disney World, I have reasons for it because I'm an egomaniac and selfish. No, the Pirates of the Caribbean, because I am the voice of the skull in that ride at Disney World.
Oh,
So I thought it already has a little Star Wars Easter egg in there. And it's one of my absolute favorite rides. And I just think it would be a great one to do that way. So I thought this would be fun. I'm curious to see what you guys would want to do with it. But yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that skull, dead men tell no tales and all that. That's me. So when you go down.
wow.
That's
There
awesome.
we go.
So now when I go next week, I'm going to be screaming.
I know that guy.
I know that skull.
That's Obi-Wan.
That's great.
Oh,
And wouldn't it be funny if it was Obi-Wan? Well, I think it should be C-3PO in a Star Wars themed one. But you tell me how you start this. I don't want to just start throwing things out.
I think should we let James go first,
Oh,
or do we want to have him
go ahead, and then I'll see how it goes, and then I'll add to it.
All right.
all right. So basically what we do is one at a time, we each present our version of the ride, how we have StarWarsified the Disney ride. And then we, with time permitting, talk through each of them a little bit and say, yeah, we like that, we don't like that, or which I'm sure we'll like everything because we usually do.
That was terrible.
Oh, that's good.
Horrible.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
So I don't know who wants to go first. I hate to
You do.
throw James
You want to
right-
go first.
I'll go first. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I go into a little more detail than the guys do, so they like to give me enough time. All right. So I've changed. It's not Pirates of the Caribbean anymore because
Of course.
Yeah.
it's not in the Caribbean. So this is called, and I'm not going to do voices tonight because
Oh, come on.
I would just be embarrassed because anyways. Pirates of the Outer Rim. Is going to be the
Alright.
title of the ride. The setting is going to be, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this planet. I tried to pick a planet that we don't know much about, I guess.
Okay.
It's called Vodran or Vodron. Vodron, we'll call it that. It's a swampy jungle planet located in Hutt space in the Outer Rim, and it was controlled by the Hutt clan. So we already got the swampy sort of theme in the Caribbean. Okay, so here we go. This is a little synopsis of the ride, and then I'll get into the step-by-steps. The rumor throughout the galaxy is that the Hutts are hiding a vast treasure somewhere on the planet of Vodron, which piques the interest of the greatest pirate in the galaxy, Hondo Ohnaka.
Of course.
Knowing that stealing treasure from the Hutts will not be a simple task, he tricks Jedi Padawan Ezra Bridger and the droid known as Chopper into join him on this foolish mission. Okay, so here we go. So you enter the queue through the gates of a Hutt stronghold. As you walk through the queue, you see the Hutt's mercenaries playing sabacc below you. Right before you walk down the path leading to the boats that you will use to reach the treasure, you see a large skiff, which looks like it's been used to transport a massive Hutt to the area. Once aboard your boat, you will begin to make your journey through the swamps of Vodran, whatever. In the darkness, you can see what looks like a Dianoga popping up because this is the planet where Dianogas come from. His eye out of the water. Then you must maneuver your boat through a ray shield gate and then down a waterfall to the edge of the Hutt stronghold.
Man.
Yeah, I'm.
Ryan,
the pressure is on, man.
Oh no, mine's like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay. To your surprise, once you reach the stronghold wall, there is already a battle on the water going on between the Hutt mercenaries and local Vodron uprising that are trying to take back their planet from the Hutts. Once inside the stronghold, you will continue to see scenes of the mercenaries and the Voldrons fighting, with Hondo, Ezra, and Chopper comically hiding throughout the scenes. Maybe you'll see Hondo hiding in a well, or Ezra poking his head out from behind a pile of stormtrooper helmets, trying to steal a key from a sleeping mercenary. And of course, Chopper chasing a mercenary around in a circle, zapping the mercenary's backside. The next scene, you see the tentacles and eye of a large Dianoga trying to pull mercenaries into the water. Ooh. Then a fire erupts in the stronghold as the battle continues. The next to last scene, you see Hondo. He has got thrown in jail somehow, and Chopper is outside the cell taunting Hondo with the key. And in the final scene, you see Ezra sitting on the top of a pile of treasure, talking on a comm link, trying to get Zeb to get Hera to come pick him up.
Wow.
So there we go. That's my version of Pirates.
I think you've missed your calling. I think you need to be an
Imagineer, right? Yeah.
I know. I've got to.
Golly.
Just up here, I don't know what goes on. But that's what I came up with for the ride.
No pressure. Go ahead, guys. Have fun.
Thoughts?
I think that's great. But in our group text, did you get nervous when I said no Hondo? It's already been done.
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking of that. I was like, well, gosh, yeah, because he's so much a part of the Millennium Falcon ride there, which is odd. But
yeah,
I love Hondo. Jim Cummings is an amazing guy. Now, here's the funny thing about Hondo. Hondo was a character that came on in like one episode early on. And Jim Cummings, who is, of course, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 and so many characters. And he is a true legend in voiceover and an amazing man and a dear friend. He comes in and it's just, he's so relaxed with what he does. He just starts reading the lines and he starts ad-libbing and he just starts making stuff up and he's doing the voice and he's, all that. And Dave Filoni loves it so much. They're like, we have to write more Hondo. So if Jim Cummings had not voiced Hondo the way that he did, he might not even be where he's at. Oh. And it certainly probably wouldn't be on the Millennium Falcon because he just took it and went for it. So that's what, as a performer, it's like, that's what you want to strive for. But it was also just one of my favorite Hondo lines. I just said this the other day. Is, I'm flying when he gets shot in the air. So he's just such a funny character. And Jim just had such a blast doing him. So, but how do you do Pirates without Hondo?
I know.
I think we have some ways.
Okay.
Catron, do you want to go? Do you want me to?
Sure, I'll go next.
All right.
So I took my inspiration from modern happenings or recent happenings, not modern happenings because it's still a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, right? But recent happenings on a show we've watched. Mine is called The Mines of Mandalore.
Ooh.
Right? So you're walking through the queue and you're on the surface of Mandalore. So we've got to replace everything that looks like the pirate jails and town and all that jazz. But it's covered with the green crystals and the walls, and you look down through the windows and the holes and you see the ruins of the buildings, and maybe there's Jawas collecting crystals and other things, like ship parts and things like that. And then when you board the boat, you begin your journey to the mines of Mandalore. So before we get to the drop, unfortunately, we've got to have something that they say, and we've got to take away what we talked about earlier. But it's the armorer here, and she says, when one chooses to walk the way of Mandalore, you are both hunter and prey. This is the way, So, and then the drop is symbolizing going down into the mines. It's not going to be a big drop like on the show. But you get the idea, right? And then instead of a ship battle at the beginning, we'll see Mandalorians. They're rebuilding and exploring Mandalore. So there's these different animatronics that are around and doing different things. And we see younglings that are in training, maybe on another scene, and maybe the privateers are training with each other, fighting, doing. They're flying around in their jetpacks and all that fun stuff. And then we see Grogu, of course, he's surrounded by younglings, and maybe he's moving something around, some ruins or other objects in the air. And then as you're progressing through the ride, you might see a creature in the water. Not quite sure that if you saw anything or not, but it could be
Could it be?
could it be the mythosaur? I don't know. It could be.
That would be so cool.
As you enter the forge, you start to see signs of the Empire, because the goal is to get to getting to the forge, and they're rebuilding, right? But then you start to see the signs of the Empire. This is I came up with this idea with the second to last episode, so spoilers, sorry. But
did anybody else wake up this Wednesday really depressed?
I know, right? We
was
didn't have
not
it
an
this
episode.
week.
No
I know,
Mandalorian.
right?
Yeah.
So hard.
But you start to see the new stormtroopers, and you don't see Moff Gideon just yet. But Bo-Katan leads us through a tunnel, and with the Darksaber, of course, to escape. And then as we see Moff Gideon at the end, and he's in where the treasure room normally is. He's in there, but it's a blast door, so it's not like he's got the treasure or whatever. But we see him, and you hear him saying, "You have something I want. You may think you have some idea of what you're in possession of, but you do not. In a few moments, it will be mine. It means more to me than you will ever know." So there's my voice. There you go. But so
Just like him.
just like him, I know. So then you're off to the end of the ride. So that's the Mines of Mandalore.
Wow.
Great. I love that every episode, like, we've tied in Mandalorian in some way.
We sure
And
have. Yeah.
because I didn't even think of that. I was like, I'm going to avoid it because I think that's a fantastic idea.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's fun. Okay. Well, Derek.
Okay. Well, before that, it's funny that you brought up Jim and
Yeah.
Hondo, because Hondo always reminds me of another Jim character, and that's Don Carnage from Tailspin. he's the Sky Pirate, and it's very similar voice and like attitude, where he's funny, but he's kind of the bad guy, but he's not so bad. Like, yeah.
Yeah, Carnage, right? What do you say,
Yeah.
Carnage?
Oh,
That's
it's
Jim,
Carnage.
Jim,
That's right.
Jim would say, it's Carnage, because I'll say Don Carter, he'll say, Carnage.
Yeah, everybody was like,
Yeah.
"Derek, you don't know." But so mine, I love the new Light of the Jedi books. It's part of the High Republic era, and so this is more of a deep dive for fans because you're in the High Republic era where the Jedi are everything. Like, no one is fighting the Jedi. The Sith are gone. It's completely calm until one day in the Outer Rim, there's a divergence and something happens, and a bunch of ships for the Republic are taken out, and they don't know what's going on. So you're going through here, and the drop is when and this is from the book, is when all of a sudden, all of these ships, the Republic ships, are getting taken down. And so you drop in and you don't know what's going on. You don't know if it's weapons or if it's another ship or who it is. And as you go through the ride, you realize it's the Nihil. And the Nihil are known for the storm because they come in like a storm, like lightning, and they hit before anyone knows. And the Nihil have their own way of traveling through space. And that's called their paths because they have the Eye. And the Eye takes place. He's going to take the place of like Johnny Depp in all of the characters.
right, yes.
Yeah. Which you have some experience.
Captain Jack Sparrow, mate, yes. Why is the rum gone? I blame Derek Frank.
That's
true.
very true.
That's true.
Is it sugar-free Mountain Dew or is it rum? We don't know.
Or is it both?
I haven't thought of that, actually. It's just sugar-free Mountain Dew.
I think that's worse than rum. Sugar-free Mountain Dew for you, probably.
Oh,
Maybe.
man.
Oh. Well, anyway.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's great. That's perfect. Perfect timing. So as you're going through the ride, it's just explaining the books. And, the reason that I chose the book, and I don't want to go too far into the book because a lot of people haven't read them yet, but it is meant for a younger demographic. It's more of like that early readers. They're simple reads, but they're expanding the Star Wars universe. And they're already talking about how many new shows they're going to be doing with the High Republic.
Yeah.
And for me, this is where they're kind of moving to anyway, because yeah, they're gonna do some more with Rey, but if they want more stories that people don't know, they're gonna have to go early.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, great. And the whole book is this space battle, and then the Jedi prevail, or do they?
Dun dun dun.
What's you mean? Do they? I don't like the sound.
So you'll have to read the book. So that's my ride. It's the Nihil attacking the Republic, and the Jedi come to save the day.
Man, it's interesting. Like I don't know if everybody saw the big first day at Celebration, and they had everybody up there. And the most exciting one to me was the skeleton crew, Jude Law and these kids, because sitting in there and they were showing the scenes, it felt the most to me as, the old guy in the room that grew up with E.T. and Poltergeist and all these movies, Spielberg movies, the Goonies and stuff. It felt the most like that. And it looks like it, and it feels like it, set in Star Wars. So it's almost kind of the same kind of concept there of like, you're taking something here and you're converting it over to there. And I was so excited about that. I really can't wait to see what they do with that one, because it looks fantastic. Same kind of feel though, that hopefully it's just a fun ride for kids to kind of explore like that. So,
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, I'm going to be, again, the old dude. I'm going to go old school on you.
Ooh.
So my ride is set on Dagobah, and you are going through Jedi training with Master Yoda as Luke. And so when you first are there, you're in your X-Wing, and it's sinking, and so you have to try to figure things out. For the drop, it's, Yoda, you will be, I'm not afraid. You will be as you roll when you go down into it.
That's awesome.
And now you're down into the caves of, is it a dream? Is it real? I don't know. But you start to then experience all of the things that have happened in all of the Star Wars films. So the battles, like in Return of the Jedi, where you got 3 battles going on at the same time. Dun, 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 dun. It's still, I'm 53 years old. I hear that music. I see those scenes. The hair raises on the back of my neck and my arms. There's something so thrilling about that. And so if you can capture some of those moments of that when you're down there and you're watching over on this side, this battle's happening. Over on this side, this battle's happening. And then up above, you've got, all these battles going on, trying to get, the Millennium Falcon zipping past and all these things going on there. And you are having a Jedi vision of the future throughout the whole ride of what is to come. And so then as you're traveling through that, you're experiencing the highs and lows, the good and the bad. You got 3PO on the little thing, being raised up and telling the story and all that from Jedi and the Ewoks and all that in one area. And then you pass over, you're in Cloud City, with Lando and then the visions like Luke had, remember, in Empire. Of that of his friends. So it's
best really movie of all of them.
Yeah, well, that's what people say. A New Hope, I think I've changed. Everybody always says Empire. I love Jedi. I loved Revenge of the Sith. But A New Hope is, without that, you have nothing, right?
It's true.
And so this old Obi-Wan thinks the old Obi-Wan is the best. But, So it's your journey through the world in a Dagobah induced Jedi vision of things to come. And then by the end, it's, it's not the Ewoks dancing. It's more, we go through even to the end, and you have, people rejoicing and the goodness of all of that. But that was my kind of vision for it. I've always wanted to see that ride. I've always wanted to experience a Dagobah ride, and something that would take you through those. And also you're kind of experiencing the training and stuff too. And, R2's being lifted up in one area, and all this, and just all those scenes kind of playing back for us and getting to experience them firsthand as you're floating through your sinking X-Wing.
And now I want that.
The gift shop.
I changed mine. That's what I want.
The gift shop would be amazing, because you would have everything.
Yeah.
From all the movies.
That's
all the original.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, anyways, that's for what it's worth. It's not as intense as some of yours, but as far as visions and stuff. But that was my first and foremost thought was it would be really cool to do that. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Wow.
I
That's
love
great.
it.
That was
This is-
amazing.
Yeah, this is the cool thing about this because we have 4 different people on here. Every ride was different. Like even the
Yeah.
time period was different for every ride.
And that's what we're afraid every week because we don't talk about what we're gonna
You
do.
really don't. Yeah.
And we're like, I've said we need to write it down and then hold it up, like
prove.
because there's been
serious.
times the last episode we had another guest on. We had our friend David Dollar on, and he did one from the Clone Wars, and
I like him already.
and then Ryan did one from the the Catron. Now I can't
did.
remember.
I did.
Okay, so
I
Catron-
did order
yeah.
66. So
Yeah,
it was,
and then
Ah,
and I was last, and I'm like, oh boy, because mine was from the Clone Wars.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
wow.
But they were all different. They were all different times in the Clone Wars movie, not even just Clone Wars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
That's
really bizarre.
Interesting.
It was really bizarre. So
But
it's
I
been
love it.
fun.
Man, I love it. Yeah, I mean, you think about all of the rides that they've put together and all of the lands and all the things, and there's so many ways that you could Star Warsify them. So you guys could do this show for the next 20 years and be
Yeah.
just fine.
At least the next
plan.
one year.
Well, yeah, give or take, whatever.
Yeah. No, and that's the great thing. And every now and then we'll throw like a food thing in there, and we'll try to
Yeah.
theme the food. So it's been great. But now, since you're on the spot and we brought up food, if so, like say you had to take the Tortuga restaurant, now you've got to theme it to your ride that you just made. James, what would you do for food?
Mm, yes. Ooh, yeah, those little bars, those little power bars that Luke's eating.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, ooh, yeah, he doesn't like it. No, that is a good question. Eel, I suppose, some type of
Sushi.
slimy sushi. Yeah, maybe a sushi bar. I don't know. Yeah.
Dagobah
or that-
sushi.
That little sludge that he's making in the right. He's got like a little soup
The
there.
first thing I thought about was the
Luke
soup or
is
whatever.
oh,
Nasty. Yeah.
bonk hitting his head. This is where I'll just share some stories. The last year of Star Wars weekends, we had Frank Oz come, and he was just so great. And since then, Frank and I became good friends, and he is the funniest guy. He's got the most dry sense of humor, and he will give me a bad time. I'll email him, "Hey Frank, it's James." He's like, "So what? What do you want?" He loves giving you a bad time. And but we would nerd out there talking to him about he and Mark Hamill. So the year before I had interviewed Mark, we did this real special interview with Mark Hamill, and he's talking about his time with Frank Oz and how much he's such a fan of Frank Oz's. He grew up with Sesame Street and the Muppets and all this. And they both are getting both of their stories of that time on Dagobah and that, time in that space where, Frank is just this the whole time, but they both drew so much from each other, and they both gave the other one all the credit for those scenes working the way they did, because it never should work. A puppet talking to a guy in a movie very seriously. And yet we all buy Yoda that way, even more so than like the CGI, and stuff later in the prequels. It's like, I know the puppet that they did there, it just didn't work the same. So the CGI helped with that, but there was something so magical about those scenes with the two of them. And so I reflect on that, and it's some of the, best parts of my childhood. So I guess that's probably why I go there with the ride too. It's just like all of those visions and the seeing Luke's face in the mask and all that stuff. I experienced all that as a kid, where there was no social media, there was no spoilers, there was no way you ever would know that Darth Vader was going to say, spoiler alert, "I am your father." And I remember literally being in the theater talking, watching that rather, hearing all that and going, "Are you kidding me?" I was like 11 or 12 maybe at the time. So it's fantastic to relive those moments. And so all of that combined with all of Disney, going to those rides, going on Pirates the first time as a little kid, it brings up, those sensory, I can smell it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel the cool in there, of the air conditioning hitting you when you're driving through. That's like in the boat, the smell of the water and all that stuff. So
I actually have that scent going in my diffuser right now.
Well, you had to get ready for the show.
Yeah, I had to, you got to get into it.
Gotta get
Get those
moved.
smells.
So anyway, so
Yeah.
sorry, I go on and on, but it's just,
No, this is great.
it's such so many wonderful memories. And then getting to have more other memories, I was going to say, with Frank Oz and stuff too. It was fantastic. So I'm a blessed man to get to do all those things, but I'm blessed to be on this podcast as well. So yeah. Are there other Star Wars questions you've always wanted to ask Obi-Wan?
Oh boy. Here goes Ryan.
I know that you were in one episode of Tales of the Jedi.
I was,
I thought that was such a unique show. What are your thoughts on the show and how they did it? And season 2 coming out where Filoni's basically using up and comers to make the episodes, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, I think that's what he was mentioning, which is great and very exciting. I think that of course there could have been more Obi-Wan. No.
Yes.
I think that there's wonderful opportunities for this. I literally have no idea what they will do with this. None of us do.
Yeah.
But in my perfect world, I would love to explore more. I think it was a wonderful tease, but a tease at that for young Ahsoka and Plo Koon.
Yeah.
Dave always used to tell us tales of that when we were in the studio recording Clone Wars, and tease Ashley and I with these stories about Plo Koon and Ahsoka and how that whole journey goes on. And so I would love a whole episode of that.
Yeah.
Really seeing little, toddler Ahsoka and Jedi Master Plo teaching her the ways of the Force, and, all those things. And so Plo Koon, by the way, is essentially Ian McKellen. So I just basically do, Gandalf, and then they take it and they modify it in, Pro Tools and give it a mask sound and pitch it down a little. And then it becomes Jedi Master Plo. I should get my cup of water here, It becomes Plo Koon, whatever. But, but I would love to see that story. I would really love to see more of that. I hope they do some other stories. Heck, I would love to selfishly to see young Obi-Wan as a Padawan with Qui-Gon. That would be awesome.
Yep.
So,
now, if you could voice any character that you haven't voiced in Star Wars, what would you want?
Oh, Emperor, probably. No.
Luke.
The dubbed version, not
He's
the.
not a farmer, Owen.
Yeah. Even as a kid, I was like, why does that sound different than ever? Because they dubbed her voice.
Mhm.
It wasn't the actress's voice, but anyways. No, that's a great question. I'm so fortunate to get to do so many different cool characters in this world, and so many different aliens and things. I don't know. I was wondering which ones you guys would want, because it is really hard to answer that question.
How about this? How about live action? For you to appear in a Star Wars thing, what kind of character would you want to appear in a live action?
Well, I did. My friend Jamie Costa did a great Obi-Wan Kenobi short film called Kenobi, and I got to play a bad guy in that, which I thought was pretty fun. I like playing the bad guys every once in a while. So I wouldn't mind that. I would love to provide the voice for Plo Koon if they ever do anything with him, like they've done with Cad Bane or Zeb or anybody, where my buddies Steve Bloom or Corey Burton have got to do the voices. So I hope they think of me if they ever do Plo. Because I think if Obi-Wan can cut Darth Maul in half and he can survive, then I would think, Master Plo could survive Order 66, but that's another story for another day, I guess. But so yeah, I would love to voice some other. I was fortunate enough to be in all 5 of the last Star Wars movies too. I did voices in all 5 of those, and various characters throughout the whole things. But any one character, maybe a new character, maybe some new alien or something fun where it's got some textures and tones. I got to be Transdoshan Frisk in Star Wars Squadrons, which was a video game that came out a little while ago. And Frisk has this kind of, and then a little.
Oh, that was you too?
Yeah, that was me.
Wow.
So
okay, cool.
It was a throat ripper, but yeah. So
I played that game quite a bit through the pandemic with my brother and cousins and stuff, because we all were playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're like, hey, this is a perfect game. We love Star Wars, and we've all got the joystick. And
oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so so that was me as Frisk. But yeah, and then O.C. Sobek was one of my favorites. See, Dave would call up and he'd say, James, what would Christopher Walken sound like as an alien?
And, I do Christopher Walken's voice if he can't. So I come in, I do it. It's crazy. So I thought, as an alien, so I sent him these audio files. They sent me some lines, and I sent him variations of Christopher Walken combined with other people. And what it turned out being was more so Al Pacino and Christopher Walken combined, and you get O.C. Sobek, and it's crazy the way he talks hoo-ha.
I always like to ask, especially on our other podcast, I Am Geek, which if you're not listening to I Am Geek, check it out. I always like to ask what our guests like to geek out about. And I know that you love Indiana Jones. Am I correct?
I do. Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie of all time. I've seen that movie, got me through my childhood. So my best friend, Steph, would leave every summer to go stay with his dad because his folks were divorced. And I would go to the Magic Lantern movie theater in UCSB down in Santa Barbara. And I would watch for $2. They'd let me in. And I would sit there. And then it was Raiders of the Lost Ark playing with whatever else was playing that year. And I would sit all day and watch it. So I've literally seen Raiders hundreds of times. Wow. And yeah, it was it got me through, my lonely summers as a kid.
Oh, I remember when I was a kid, it was Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and I had the whip that I got. Somehow my parents gave me a whip.
Yep, I had one too.
And I would play in the yard as Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you excited for the new movie?
I am. It's hard with all the AI and the deep fake stuff. It's scary on one hand because it's scary what it can do. And on the other, you look at it and you go, well, that's amazing. But the problem with it too is that you do sit there staring at it, looking for, well, wait a second. I mean, it looks exactly like him and it seems all, So I think that's fascinating. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I'm also one of those people that Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, I love that movie. I know a lot of people panned it at the time, but I think that one was so much fun, and I loved it. It went backwards in time. It was earlier than Raiders and stuff. And so I'll be curious to see what they do and what they tie in and what they, how they wrap it all up too. Cause this is it for Hank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for all of those people that wonder, how do you get into voice acting and even past getting into it, I don't think a lot of people realize how much of this that you're doing yourself, like all of the work you do, you're the engineer. You're at your house more than you're at a studio, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, now especially. I mean, in fact, tonight after we finish this, I will go into my little booth here, and I will do The Simpsons coming up next on Fox. Bob's Burgers is all new coming up next. These promo work, and I will be there and I'll be patched in with them, but they'll play it for me through the line, and I'll do the spot live and so they play it live and then I re-record it live. But I'm a total nerd for all this tech stuff. I've always had home studios, and over the years it broke up to about 50% of my work was done from there. But then after the pandemic, 100% of my work was done from studios. And there's only one show I work on now out in Nashville where I go out to a studio, and that's done over at Lipscomb, the university. Yep. And they have some studios there that I record from. But so it is all 100% there. And even some of the shows now where I'm doing where we do songs and stuff. So I'm engineering it as we go. Yeah. It's it's a lot of work, but it pays to be a nerd. It pays to love all those things,
And I think that's kind of what I was getting at is the advice, because one of the first times you and I talked, it was like you and I recognized that there is a demand for voice actors of people that want to know about them. And that's how I was like, why are voice actors not working with these music companies with microphone brands and interfaces and different things like that? And you're like, it's weird. Like they don't really want to talk to us. And to me,
until Derek Frank.
No, not even that. To me, it was like,
no, but seriously. Yeah.
But you have so many skills, not just the voice acting and your personality, but having that tech skill I think is what a lot of people don't realize you need now.
I think it's pretty important to know your way around a microphone, a studio, an editing program, some type of editing program, and what the basics of EQ and compression and limiting and stuff would even mean, because you want to be able to sound good. And, not everybody has a full-blown studio in their house. So if you have some ability to understand how it all works, it's certainly going to help your career as a voice actor. So because you may just be working out of your closet, but it could sound fantastic if you know what you're doing. So I always encourage people to kind of educate themselves. It's just like, also I say, the other thing is people go like, what do you, the main things I say to people is know other voice actors, know who they are. If I say Frank Welker, you got to know who Frank Welker is. And he's, a legend in voice acting. Jim Cummings, Corey Burton, Dawes Butler, who's less known than Mel Blanc. Everybody knows Mel Blanc, but Don Messick and Dawes Butler were the guys that were also doing stuff back in the day with Mel Blanc. And Dawes was, Yogi Bear and Huckleberry Hound and, Snagglepuss and Elroy Jetson and all these characters. And Don Messick was Papa Smurf and Scooby-Doo and Boo Boo Bear and Mr. Ranger and all these amazing, Race Bannon and all these great characters. So know who these people are. Know who your modern day voice actors are. D. Bradley Baker or Phil Lamar or Kevin Michael Richardson or Cree Summer or Nika Futterman, Gray Delisle, Kari Walgren, all these people. If I say those names to voice people, they lean in. Yeah. Because these people are amazing at what they do and they understand the craft. Not a lot of them understand the microphone stuff until the pandemic. And then like Gray Delisle was going like, how do I make a studio in my closet? And so it was a great education for people. But now I say that, and then I say know and like your own voice. Most people don't like the sound of their own voice. You guys are there with headphones on right now on microphones. And I bet if I ask you all right now, do you like the sound of your own voice? I'll get mixed reviews here. So, right? Do you guys like the sounds of your own voice? See, Derek's been in the studio a long time. He's used to it.
I mean, my arms are pretty long too, so I can pat myself on the back.
Yeah, but that's a big key to being a successful voice actor, because you can't go in there kind of timid about it.
Yes,
you have to have no inhibitions. You have to be able to go in and make funny faces and not worry about it. How many times in my career I voice double celebrities, and a lot of it is literally doing their grunts and groans and stuff, because even they are uncomfortable with doing that kind of stuff. So you have no inhibitions. People like D. Bradley Baker and I just come in and we're just nerds for it. Like, yeah, what kind of sound do you want? Okay, we'll figure it out. Christopher Walken gargling. What does that say? Wow. Wow. Or Jay Baruchel from How to Train Your Dragon. And okay, yeah. So how would Jay say anything? And that's how you have to be able. Or Captain Jack Sparrow, mate. Whoa, wait a second, Doc. Marty McFly. Wait, whoa, Doc, this is heavy. That's right, Marty. There's something wrong with the space-time continuum. You just have to be able to just go into it and have no inhibitions about it. And so those are the big things I would tell people. But the technology is a huge part of it, Derek. It really is. Getting to understand that, it'll only help you. That's the point. Yeah.
So if people want to learn that from you, and pay you thousands of dollars. No, but really, where can people find more about you?
Oh, about me? My goodness. Well, they can go to my website. They can follow me on, social media stuff. I have a YouTube channel. I'm trying to get over 100,000. Now, for the last couple of years, I've been stalled out at 97,000 subscribers. And then I started losing some even. And I think I got like something because I have friends that said they were unsubscribed to my channel. So I think maybe, YouTube was having some errors. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. But maybe they don't have enough of those plaques and they don't want to give me that 100,000 plaque.
YouTube, get on it.
Come on. But so my YouTube channel has tons of videos, hundreds of videos of me in my booth, talking about voiceover, talking about demos, talking about just microphones and things. And I stopped putting stuff out for a while because I did end up just working on this movie and doing other things. But I'm going to bring my podcast back. I have a podcast called Talking to Myself.
Yeah, love it.
And I was thinking about maybe doing a video version of it. And you guys are inspiring me here with all what you're doing here. So, but it's me talking to me. So it's just me doing all the voices, and it's a lot of fun. And I thought that might be interesting for people to see that, especially if you are interested in voiceover, to see the goofy faces I make. But
it's a wonderful show too. So everybody out there, like, not only are the voices amazing, but you always have a great message at the end of every episode.
I try.
Yeah.
Well, I try, and it's funny because people are like, "Wow, you haven't done any episodes," and I go, "I have to really have something I want to talk about." You know, I don't have a theme like you guys have a theme. It's like, wow, I can take apart a ride in StarWarsify it. That's pretty cool. So, it's usually it's just me talking to myself, and then I go, I've said everything I need to say. So, I don't know.
That crew taking a trip to Disney World would be hilarious.
Oh, I have to do that.
Well,
I get it. Yeah. Hello. Get Hank in there.
Yeah.
Well, I know you got to get going to get on to your promos,
I
but
do,
if there's any sign off that Ryan wants to do, but I wanted to, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, I want to come back when I have more
Yes.
time too.
Sweet,
So
yeah.
let's plan on that. And I will try to think of another ride, but if not, I'm
Yeah.
happy to just be here with y'all and to do more and to talk more about all of it and just send people your way because now we have a new favorite podcast to listen to. You know?
Yes.
Excellent.
Living with a Landspeeder. Yes.
I like
Awesome.
that.
It's much better than flying. I don't like flying.
That's
You know how I hate that. Anakin hates sand. I hate flying. So the force is strong with living with a Landspeeder. I'll do some of those. I'll lay some of those down and send them to you guys.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
that's
I wish you
Yeah.
nothing but the best with the podcast. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to come back on. And I am sorry, that I need to go and
Do my
Hey.
promo thing.
No worries.
I need to put my hand up here. This is the only way I can do it. I always have this. Yes, coming up next.
so
I
well.
also make kyber crystals
you do.
that
And they're
Oh,
incredible.
word.
that work in the Savi's lightsabers. So if you want some, I'll send you some.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Well, my goodness. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
amazing.
All right. Well, good. Well, gentlemen, I bid you all a farewell, but certainly not goodbye for good. I will be back. The force is strong with you indeed. So I'll say only goodbye for now. Goodbye there. Yes.
Thank you so much, James.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Take care.